Good morning, everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of Homeprenuer Huddle Chat series, where we nitpick on the traits that makes efforts towards working from home a success. I am Deepa Govil, your host from the Homepreneur Huddle Chat and a practicing homepreneur since 2008. For today's Huddle Chat, we have with us two practicing homepreneurs who technically work from home but also step out of home to enable their work from home endeavors. I'm sure by the end of this show, our guests would have had you inspired enough to take action on your intent, because intent without action is like food in the picture. It can make you feel nice but cannot satiate your hunger. Our first guest today is Vidya Nag, an instrumentation engineer, talented painter, and a weaving expert. She finds inspiration in temple architecture, especially at early dawn hours. After quitting a plum job at Wipro and 4 years of travel with many exhibitions under her belt, Vidya now weaves magic with newspaper. She creates home decor and lifestyle products with upcycled newspapers under the brand Aardra. Welcome to the show, Vidya.
Hi, Deepa. Hi, all.
What are mind things our hands do? Vidya meticulously trains her heart and hand in advance before taking that final decision, calling it quits. This way, she conquers the what next emptiness when we quit things all of a sudden, something that we all should take to heart and try it out. So, Vidya, it's a pleasure having you with us, and would like to know more about Ardra and how it came into existence.
Hi, everybody. Great pleasure to be here and to be talking to all of you. So I want to begin. I don't want to get into the painting phase or into Aardra that I do now. Although I keep talking to people and I keep telling them to throw practicality out of the window. Whenever you want to do something, when you start off something, just follow your heart and just jump into it. Although I keep saying that, there's also something that paradoxically goes with it, and that's prudence. What I did for myself would work for most of us. So when I was in Wipro, I knew this was my way forward and I wanted to do something else. What that something else was and how I was going to do it. Although I knew it was something to do with painting and art. But I made sure that I had this cushioning of money with me, which is very important, because I'm not sure of what setbacks I'm going to face. And I don't know how much money I would need and at what points on this journey when I set out on it. So I made sure I created a good cushion for myself. That is something that's very important before we start off something. I was lucky because I did the mundane path of doing this engineering, being in a corporate world, and that helped me. So I would suggest everyone to find their own means and methods of doing that, of creating that small cushion for yourselves, so that every time you sit back and think, you're on a good cushion, and you're not hurting yourself. So having said that, um, being a South Indian, you have no choice but to do your engineering or be a doctor. So I chose the engineering because it was less expensive, and and so yeah, it just logically led my way to Wipro, and I loved my job and I had a great time at Wipro, and it was a great place to be at also. So after a good stint, I thought I created a good cushion for myself. And once that was done, I knew I wanted to paint. Since my childhood, I've been into painting and I've inherited it from my mother and my family. So I got it naturally. I didn't need to rely on techniques and training. So post that, I quit when I realized that my home can run comfortably without me pitching in. I quit and I started traveling, and Hoysala architecture was something that really drew me towards itself. And I worked on all the ruins and tried to recreate them in my paintings as how they might have been in their heydays. So that it could be first time was luck, but it was a runaway success, the whole vision and everything. And it went on for 2-3 years, and it was 18-20 hours of painting a day, and I was enjoying every bit of it. Physically, it drained me, but I enjoyed every bit of it. And I thought I should go on a break and do something else till I'm rewired and till I'm recharged about what to paint next or what my work should be about. Um, while I was on that break, I stumbled upon this weaving, and I saw how beautiful it could be, and at the same time how functional and sturdy it was. The products that could be woven in newspaper. So I started weaving them, and I started formulating my own ways of coloring and priming it to give it more strength with just what is available in our society, in our markets, with the available products. And it just got better and better, and I got so hooked onto it I can't leave it anymore. And so now the experiments are on about how to prepare the priming products or the coloring in the kitchen than getting it from the market. So we are on that path right now, and yeah, it's a thoroughly enjoyable process. And I want more and more people to join me, and which is happening, which I'm very happy about. And that's been the journey. That's how I'm here where I am.
Wow.
When I am able to run it on its own, I'll probably get back to painting.
That's good. I mean, in a very generic sense, we are scared to take a career break once. You actually took it twice.
Yeah.
Once
Yeah.
from Wipro and once from the love of your heart, which you said is your painting. And you come with an ancestral gene full of
Yeah.
artistic talents. So taking a break twice and then standing up again for something else is not a small feat in itself. So full kudos to that. Thanks for sharing.
I think it's also a result of jumping into it, and then what you're looking for also finds you.
Okay.
So that finding of the other thing finding you happens when you jump.
That's amazing. You should start looking for deeper meanings in what you've just said.
Yeah.
Viewers, we also have with us today Neerja Ganesh, who has a full-on 25 plus years of a fulfilling corporate career behind her. She's a career mentor. When I say career mentor, there is something that I need to address when I'm speaking about Neerja here. When women try to rejoin work, by this I mean rejoin the regular workforce, there is a certain level of expectation set on us, which I would conveniently call it as corporate expectations. Now, these corporate expectations range from being compassionate to outright insensitive and impractical. Neerja, as a career mentor who has been in a corporate sector for a very, very, very long time, and she's also transitioned into a homepreneur. Therefore, she also understands the pain and perils of working from home. She is able to guide her mentees through this journey of corporate expectations. So, Neerja, as a career mentor, helps face and handle such situations without us feeling sorry or being apologetic about it. More importantly, not to feel guilty about our personal choices. Hi, Neerja. Welcome to the Homepreneur Huddle Chat.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Deepa, for having me over. And it's wonderful to share this screen space with Vidya. I'm completely opposite to Vidya. Absolutely no creativity in me. But yeah, I'm inspired, in terms of what each of us, is able to kind of achieve in our own ways. Thank you.
Thank you, Neerja. Thank you so much. So before we formally begin, I would just want to reiterate to everybody else in our huddle chat that you can ask your questions directly to Vidya and Neerja. Just drop them on the comment section and we will respond to them later. So Vidya, you are a weaving expert who upcycles newspapers into home decor, lifestyle, and personal products such as lamps, trays, cake stands. And these are the products that I have seen in your Facebook page. I scroll through your pictures, and that's how I know that you have weaved these kind of materials or products. Now, you have also shared the journey of brand Aardra. So, is it something that you conceived right away when you thought, when you start thinking of quitting? You said when you quit Wipro, you took up painting. So when you decided to quit painting, did you conceive weaving? So how was the thought process? What happened along the way?
I haven't quit painting. It's waiting for me to get back to it. That's my core. That's where my soul is. So it'll get back there. While on this journey, I wanted to. I am a best out of waste maker. I am the champion of that cause. So I wanted to do something else with my hands so that um, I get a break from. I had done enough of Hoysala temples, and there's something else I wanted to explore, and I didn't know what it was, and I wanted to explore my own mind as to what it would be. And there's nothing better than working with your hands that can set your mind free of whatever you hardwired yourself into. So you can break that easily and think about something new and broader with the help of any kind of handwork. So once I got onto it, I realized this is so therapeutic and so beautiful. And this was something else also which I could lose myself to. We all need something on a daily basis. We need something to lose ourselves to, something other than the TV, which we do lose ourselves to. So this was great, and by the end of it, I could use all of these products at home. They weren't just arty stuff, and it was something that was usable and very functional and sturdy at the same time, and it replaced a lot of my plastic products at home, a lot of wooden products which are new wood products, and a lot of bamboo products also. Bamboo is great for the weaver, but it's better in the soil because it stops soil erosion and a lot of other things. And replacing bamboo with something that's already there in the society, is a great thought. So that's how I got hooked onto it.
So Vidya, you deal with a tangible product, something
Yes.
that you can touch and feel. Can you show some of your gems?
This is a two-tier fruit tray. You could use vegetables, fruits according to your imagination. You can display muffins, and or you can keep it in your personal space, and you can display your cosmetics, whatever you would like. And it's also water resistant, which makes it easily used anywhere in the house, even places that have a lot of moisture in them, like bathrooms. This is a market bag, and we try to fill it with as many things as possible to show how much weight it can actually withstand.
Correct.
It has incredible strength. This is a party setup we do usually. This is furniture, stools to sit on, and it's filled with discarded PET bottles of the beverages we get in the market, like Maaza, Sprite, and similar products. So that is encased in all the pizza boxes that are discarded, and then it's given a form, and finally we weave over it to create this ottoman effect. It can be used as a footstool, as an ottoman, as a coffee table, and it's also food safe. So you can see the cake stand and other things, and then there's lighting, of course, for the house.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so LED lights are a great boon for us because the bulbs don't heat up at all.
Right.
So safe to use paper.
Right. So Vidya, I realize some of these patterns are really so intricate and complex.
Yes.
But it really has to start somewhere with your first roll, with your first weave.
Yes.
Do you start weaving things right away, or you weave it in your head and take it to your hands? Now, the reason why I'm asking this is our first thought sets precedence to the ideas, be it good or bad, that what is to come next, more like a waterfall effect. So, I mean, as somebody who deals with, hands-on things, how do you deal with it?
So I know I'm talking to people here who aren't just arts and crafts people, who are also service providers, or who aspire to be service providers, or some kind of offline where you're using technology more than something manual and physical. So what I want to say is, all of us, whatever our endeavors are going to be to begin as homepreneurs or entrepreneurs, it helps to start working with your hands a bit, because we are so hardwired. When we take out our vehicle on a daily basis, we kind of tend to turn towards the same spots that we are used to going to, although we want to go somewhere else. we often make the mistake. I don't know how many of us can drive here, but most people who drive have that issue of, oh God, I'm on this road, but I had to be somewhere else. So we are so hardwired. I want to talk about something that Kabir used to do here. We know him for all the work he's written about in his Kabir Panth. And how did his whole writing skill come up? That was his, we know him for that. But what is it that got him to write whatever he wrote and took him to that spiritual path where he could lose himself and create something like this? He was a weaver. I don't know how many of us know that, but he was a weaver. He was a loom weaver working on a loom. So every time his hands started working on the loom, that's it. His mind and his hands were in coordination, and it took him on to such a spiritual path that his brain started creating new stuff every time he started weaving. So working with your hands creates such new neural pathways in your brain that you have not shredded before. Pathways that you wouldn't think of doing before. It gives you some kind of, it releases you from whatever holds you back from taking that first step. So I would suggest I'll get back to your question, but I would suggest everyone to do something with their hands. It could be playing a musical instrument, a stringed instrument, even that helps. Something that will help you get rid of that inertia and just take that first step forward. So then you don't have the battle of the mind or the hand, what works first. So then you don't have the problem of what design comes first. Is it ready in my head? Is it ready in my hand? All those things don't matter. Some designs get ready in the head. Some designs evolve as I'm working, because what's ready in the head is not practical. As I'm working on it, I realize. So each problem that you face, so every weave, every intricacy is, you can look at it like a problem of life and how you work around it. It's not really a problem. A situation has arisen and you just weave around it. That's what happens when the hands and the mind work together. And even if you aren't into arts and crafts, I would suggest go pick something that your hands can do. It could be anything. It could be pottery. It could be working as a carpenter with carpentry tools. Anything that involves the fingertips.
It kind of reminded me when you say, no, you need to open up your hands. We've seen kids, especially toddlers, holding on to their favorite toy. They clutch it so tightly that they keep it within their fist and still try to hold something else. So we tell them, let go of the other one, otherwise you can't grab the next one.
Yes.
So this kind of fits into that kind of a mindset. Yes. Probably even though chronologically we age, we are still in that the toddler mindset of clutching on to our thoughts.
Absolutely. That's a beautiful analogy. Yeah, it's the thing of letting go, and your hands help you with that letting go.
That's a realization. That's a revelation.
Yeah.
Speaking of hands do a lot of touching, and touching is such a wonderful feeling.
Yes.
Behavioral psychologists attach a lot of meaning to it in our personality. Yes. We judge things, we judge people within microseconds of touching. Eyes kind of work as an extended, invisible touch. It does an invisible touch to the people we meet. When we are dealing with vegetables or products or material, textiles, electronics, you find a new electronics, you just want to touch and see how it works. So we start judging things within microseconds of touching. When dealing with such a tangible product, especially at Aardra, dealing with rejection of customers is also like, it's inevitable for you.
Yeah.
So you put up a stall, you spread your wares, and you will have people coming in and reacting in a wide spectrum.
Yes.
So some are appreciative of your work. Some may not understand, appreciate, or acknowledge the effort.
Yes.
And the intricacies that goes into making the product.
Yes.
So these rejections can weigh heavily upon a maker.
Yes.
And since it's like on the spot, we human beings are reactive we are reactive in nature. So how do you conquer these situations?
So before this whole rejection, before I'm faced with this, there are two things that I ensure all the time. One, I should be in love with the product myself. Okay, if I'm not in love with it myself, I work on it until I fall in love with it. And I should want to keep it to myself. So that's that feeling. You have to have that feeling first. whatever it is that you're giving out into the world. And the second thing I do, once it's all ready and done, I put it to use. I am my first customer. So it's so important to be your own first customer and use your own product and see how it works, it doesn't work, and what you like about it, don't like. Gift it, and gift it to your friends, gift it to people who are not related to you, get feedback from everywhere, and then put it out into the market. I do this with every single product. So so I am my biggest customer. So after these two steps, which are big steps, then it's out in the market, then my first rejection comes. So I have, since it's made out of newspaper, so what happens if this is a product? So when you look at it, it looks like if you can pass it off as a bamboo box. And then when you can come closer, you're not sure if it's bamboo. And then you ask, what is it made of? And then I tell them it's newspaper. It's a daily newspaper. Say, yeah, daily newspaper. Oh, how much does it cost? Oh, okay. And then they just dump it and they go. And then so there are some people who are willing to experiment, and they come back and they say, what if I take it out in the rain? Okay. Then what if it catches fire? And then will it last long? So I don't know. When I buy a Gucci bag or something like that, will I ask Gucci, will it get wet in the rain? Can I carry it in the rain? Can I wash my handbag? The trays I buy in the market, and will it catch fire? Of course it will. If I set it on fire, it will catch fire. So these are questions which are inappropriate at most times. I don't know the word for it. Okay. So these questions don't require serious, they can't be looked at as rejection. These people don't buy, they go away. But you cannot look at it as rejection. You have to take these questions in, breathe it in, think about it. Okay, these people are asking me these questions. So what we did was we came out with a witty FAQ, set of FAQs, and we gave witty answers to it. We drew caricatures around it and made it very funny. So then the next time we went out into the market with the same stuff, we had people reading it and smiling. So we knew, okay, this guy is somebody I can talk to. I can show my products. Then there were people who didn't even notice it and asked the same things, didn't read. Then I knew this is not the person who's going to buy my product. So I have dealt with that part of rejection in this way. But of course, there is the normal logical thing of redoing a product according to customer complaints and their feedback. That's a very logical thing to do. So we take out products from the market, we put new ones, we customize it, we tweak it, we do all of those things. But these other things that we do are more important, where it's never a rejection, it's always a question, and you're just trying to answer it. So don't react to their reactions, only respond to their reactions. So breathe it in, sit back, think about it, see how you can present yourself better or how you can solve that issue. There was this clutch also. So every time people saw this clutch, they would come running to the stall and they would say, hey, what is this? And then they open it and then they are like, okay, what can I have in this? I'm not too sure. And then they put it back and they go. They keep coming back. They keep setting their eyes on it, but they don't really buy it. They go back. So then we decided, okay, they like it. They're not sure how to use it. So we did a video of how it's made from scratch. It's finished. A price tag is put on it. And it's all done, then it is bought, and how a person actually uses it. So we made the person open, put in the mobile and the watch and not watch, house keys, car keys, a lipstick and a pen and a small notebook and different things that you would carry when you step out. So we put all that and we showed him this is the way to use it. Then the whole response towards the product completely changed. So when you get reactions, you don't react again, but you respond. You breathe in the reactions, take them as questions, try answering them, and please respond and don't react to anything.
Wow. Well, I mean, life has been teaching us over and over again that rejection is inevitable.
Yes, absolutely.
Going to be. I mean, you try to get up and walk, you fall down. That's Nita's way of rejecting our efforts, saying that you need to put a little bit more effort.
Yes.
So it's going to come in all forms, shapes, sizes, and situations. Knowing that it's going to happen is actually putting us in an advantage. You are actually waiting for somebody to reject so you can come with your best pitch forward.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, this is how Aardra has handled rejection. It's a wonderful way. I mean, it's an excellent technique. But it's not a but. So again, we have participants here who are not into handmade stuff, who are not into tangible products. So who are service providers of at different levels. So we as service providers as well face rejections a lot of time. Now, as a culture, we are told to believe that when something is rejected of us, it is because something is lacking in us. I could be lacking in my effort. I could be lacking in the information that I'm giving forward. I could be lacking. So it's always about me lacking something. It's not about them not asking the right questions. So when as I said during the start of this huddle chat, the first thought sets precedence for the next thoughts to follow. So if I'm going to think that, okay, I got rejected because I got rejected because. So it's again the negative thoughts of no, the entire waterfall of the negative thoughts that's going to come across to me. Eventually, everything culminates into a guilt that says, okay, I can't do anything wrong because everybody is rejecting me. It's hardly one rejection or two rejections, but it just escalates so much in our head that we end up thinking everything that I'm doing is wrong. Everybody is rejecting me. We start generalizing it at a very at a universe level, and that is where our guilt begins to take shape. It begins to form. Then we go on a guilt trip. So this is very detrimental to our personal and professional growth. So once you are there on the guilt bus, there is no way taking your career forward. There is no way taking your effort forward. And how do we get off this bus? We just don't want to be in this bus at all at any time. So how do we get off? So here is where Neerja can give us some wonderful insights, because she strongly believes not everything cannot be taught by teaching. There is a lot to be learned by observation as well. So how does a reaction to rejection fit into this bill? What do you reckon, Neerja?
Sure. So the first question I will ask is, who is rejecting, right? So whose approval are you seeking as an individual? That's most important. Is it your own? Is it your husband's? Is it your child's? Is it your mother's, mother-in-law's, the rest of the world? I think that possibly is going to tell us, how we can deal with whether it is rejection or, anything else. So for me, I would say that, don't even bother about everybody else's rejection. I think you need to be, as Vidya said, you need to be satisfied with what you did. You put in efforts and there was an outcome. Okay. Are you satisfied with that outcome for the kind of effort that you have put in? If you're not satisfied, then you know that you got to work better than this. If you were satisfied and then it went beyond you to somebody else, and that person is kind of not, happy or doesn't accept or agree with your stance, then you need to think about it and not get really desperate or dejected. So let me give a story of my own daughter. She's now going to be 18 in January. I'm talking about 3 or 4 years ago. So she's always been a writer ever since she was a child. And she would write to all these competitions, right? School or outside, online, all the storytelling competitions she would write. She's won some because she's not won all. And there was this one competition that she wrote a very emotional, kind of a story. And she didn't win the prize. I said, okay, fine. She said to herself, I'm going to publish this myself as a book. I don't care about what the rest of the world thought about it, and I didn't win the prize. I'm going to publish this. She came to me and she said whether I would help her. It is a small story, probably 5 pages in a Word doc or 10 pages in a Word doc. I said, Sneha, you have a long way to go. Publishing is a big thing. Let's look at it, after you've done a few more stories. The summer vacation after 10th, she was extremely busy. I didn't bother. She didn't bother me. And then I realized she'd gone to Amazon and she'd figured out how to self-publish. And of course, it also asked for, the creator for the book cover, etc. She'd done all of that. And she came to me when she had to put a bank account detail there, and we didn't have a bank account for her, right? And we got a bank account done, and she's gone ahead, published it. So what I'm trying to say is, as a child at that age, she didn't bother about the so-called rejection because the story didn't really get her a prize. But she said, let me do something else about it. Because for her, she said, it is not the prize. I want a review and a feedback for my story. Because I want to improve my writing. I don't care. I just want people, even if the judges had given some feedback to her saying, Sneha, this is what you could write about or improve your writing, she would have been happy about it. And she didn't get it there. She said, let me try some other way of getting it. And look at what she did. And then, she figured out that now online, not very many people like online books. So she figured out a site where she can go and get a printed copy. And she's not there to make money. For her, at this point in time, it is feedback for her writing. So that's the first step and the second step and so on. So I guess ask the question, who do you really want a validation from? If you are happy with what you've done, take the next steps. Guilt comes in only when you're always looking for an external validation. To say that, okay, what will she say? What will he say? Everybody else is doing it like that and I'm not able to. And do I have to be really apologetic? And one of the learnings on this I got was, really late in my career. I think the very last role before I quit from a corporate career, which was 2 years ago, I was heading the business performance for a big account, and I was reporting to the business unit. And I had all my peers who were absolutely very, very senior. And I was the newbie in that account, and I was the only woman in the account. And everybody else had been in the account for 10, 15 years. So they exactly knew how to run the place. Me, in my role, I needed to track metrics and I had to ask for reports, etc. And that's the last thing people will do, right? You are going to be bothered about delivery as your first thing and, customer satisfaction, etc. Who's going to be bothered about giving out metrics and reports? But my job was that. For me, my main thing is that. So I sent out an email the first time, and then if I followed up, I'd given enough advance notice, etc., and didn't get responses. So then I sent an email next time. I said, I'm sorry to be bothering you, but then, the time has arrived that we need to submit. And my BU had asked me, why are you sorry? That's your job. Your job. But and I think most of us here are women. As women, I think we do that, right? We're sorry about everything, and hence the guilt comes. Oh my God, maybe I should have written it a different way. Maybe I should have gone one-on-one with them and asked them. Why do you have to think of so many things? There's a way to do it. You did it. You didn't get the response. You kind of look at the next steps and then improve. So probably for me to reflect about, okay, maybe I know that, I'm not going to get the report on time. So what kind of processes should I set up to ensure that I don't go on this trip of following up, but in some other manner, ensure that I get the results. So that's what I would say in terms of, rejection and feeling guilty about it.
Yeah, that weighs rather heavily upon us. These are big things. These are something that I don't know. Are we a little too early to realize these things, or are we a little late in realizing these things? I mean, it's too philosophical, but at the same time, it has such practical implications. So, and coming to think of it, little drops. I mean, we all heard the proverb of little drops of water makes a mighty ocean. And similarly, little things that we do consistently every day makes up our personality as a whole. Now, if somebody knows that, okay, Nirja is this kind of a personality, Vidya is this kind of a person, it's because you do a certain thing certain way, you react to a certain things a certain way, you process your thoughts and you verbalize it in a certain way. So that makes up your whole personality. Now, if someone is prone to take off on a guilt trip, it could be just about anything. It could be just because you missed a bus. It could be because somebody else got ahead in the queue and you start feeling guilty that I should have wrapped up my shopping a little earlier. So for somebody who takes off on a guilt trip on a regular basis, what mindset suggestions would that person require to scale this wall to slowly but consistently?
Sure. So my philosophy has been, what's the worst that can happen? Right? That's the way I always look at it. And you rightly said that it's actions that kind of make the difference. Now, if you're going to keep thinking about, oh my God, something went wrong, and not do anything about it, and just keep thinking, nothing is going to go right how many ever times you do it, right? So for me, the philosophy is, what's the worst that can happen? So you miss the bus, what's the worst that can happen? You land up 10 minutes to that interview. Fine, you do land up 10 minutes to the interview, which is not professional, but you can apologize, and you should, saying that, I am late. But forget that, because if you're going to continue to keep that for the rest of the 50 minutes available to you, you're going to mess that up. Right? You do everything else right for the next to the 50 minutes, and that the initial 10 minutes are going to be forgotten. And the second thing is the action that you take. Now that you know that You planned for 1.5 hours of commute for something which should have been half an hour, but in Bangalore it is like crazy. You plan maybe 3 hours. So that's the second action that you need to take. So next time you're going to be, better off. And despite that, I know that, there could come a time when, you once again, go through the same situation. But it is, what's the worst that can happen? And if the worst is something that you can deal with, right? So if the question of how did I grow up in my corporate career is that I went about doing whatever I thought was right without really thinking about what would happen because of that. Now, what's the worst? The worst could be that I'll be thrown out of the job, right? That's the worst. They can't do anything beyond that to me. If I could cope with that, if I'm thrown out of the job, I can cope with it, and I could. I said, let me go ahead and do it. And because I did those things, it made a difference in me, it made a difference in the organization, and the rest of the things have happened. So ask that question to yourselves. If the worst is something that you can deal with, go ahead and do it. Don't keep feeling guilty, and don't keep blaming the whole world. Don't say the bus came before its scheduled time. What is in control that you have, and fix that. Work on that. Instead of thinking about and blaming the rest of the world, or thinking that, oh, I think the rest of the world had it easy. I probably live in the remotest village and everybody else, lives closer to, where actually the action is. And hence I can't and I won't. Instead of that, try to, do something about being there along with the rest of the crowd. Because not everybody has had it easy. So when you look at someone who's done, and like, for example, if today Neerja and Vidya are here as speakers, of course, tomorrow Mansi and Misha could be here as speakers, right? There's nothing to stop them. So what did I do? For, like, if an example, Deepa, I think we spoke maybe 1.5 months back, right? We are both part of a particular group. We've been there for God knows how many months. And on that WhatsApp group, lots of conversations happen. But the minute I saw Deepa putting out something about Huddle Chat, I got very curious about it because I'm also trying to do something similar in terms of running webinar series. And I wanted to do some learning out of it. So I spoke to Deepa, and then she invited me to the previous Huddle Chat. I was there. And then, we said, okay, maybe there's an opportunity for me to kind of be a speaker at the next Huddle Chat. So I took some actions. So if you take those actions, you're going to be in a different place rather than saying that, okay, fine, I think she got it and I can't get it because of these 100 reasons. So that's my 2 cents for that question.
That makes sense. So when faced, when you're almost getting out to a guilt trip, I would say stop, think, take action, and just get off the bus. You don't deserve to be there. That's not for you. That's not for you. Soon you'll find an empty bus going, and you will have others behind you who will be inspired by the way you're going to handle guilt coming in your way. So that kind of goes on to say our life is full of choices. We chose to do, we chose not to do. We react or we chose to act. We wait for things to happen or we actually go ahead and do things. Worst comes to worst, you can choose to complain or be the change, or you can blame and take control. So how are you going to take action on these levels is what going to make your personality going forward as a homepreneur. Because as a homepreneur, trust me, you do not have the luxury of feeling guilty. You just can't have the luxury of feeling guilty. You have a client call. The maid turns up late. You choose to let the maid go that day, saying that, bye, you can just leave today. I cannot attend to you. Neither can I leave you by yourself. I have a client call. And you take the client call, finish it off nice and professionally. Stop feeling guilty that you have to work through the complete household chore because you made a decision to let the maid go today. Make a choice, own it. And then the choice that you did not take, is that going to make you feel guilty? Just put it out of the window. You don't deserve that. As homepreneurs, you need to get this straight. You need to get this in your agenda every day. Every morning you wake up, this is a day where you're going to make a choice and you're going to own your choices. The choice that you did not make does not qualify you to be guilty at all. That's my take on it.
Yeah, so if I may say, never regret, because all of us have a brain, and every time we have taken a decision, it's through some thought process, right? and whatever thought process you used. You may have prioritized, or you may have discussed, or you may just agreed under force, whatever it is, but it was your thought process which made the decision happen. 2 months down the line, maybe it just didn't go the way that you thought, or somebody else told you that it would. I don't think you should regret, because it was your decision at that point in time. Things have turned up differently, maybe because of circumstances, because of whatever. 2 months down the line, take another decision, forget the past, and take a decision based on today's circumstances and move on, instead of kind of blaming the whole world and blaming yourselves and feeling guilty about it and losing another 2 months over it. So my mantra to everyone is never ever regret anything in life, because it was right at that point in time when you chose that decision, right? And then things have gone in whichever way. Let's learn from that and move on. We have enough learnings that we have every day.
What did I say about Nirja? She said, as she said, you learn a lot by observation, and there she is with that. So I mean, we are almost close to an hour here. So the house is open for a Q&A. Anybody here wants to get something from insights from Vidya or Nirja? You have a text chat that you can use. Go on. You don't get this. Trust me, you won't get the chance again. Nirja and Vidya are very busy ladies. They go, as I said earlier, they go out of their home to make sure their work from home efforts are being a success. So they are out on exhibitions, out on shows, out on webinars. And in case you didn't know, Nirja is being nominated for her Rising Awards conducted by Jobs for Her. So we'll have these links shared with you shortly. It's always there in our Facebook group and Twitter chats. So go ahead, vote for Nirja. She has inspired one too many. It's not a small feat.
Thank you so much, Deepa.
Vidya, we were talking about guilt, and we were also. You also said about you want to include others in your in Ardra's endeavors. I did read somewhere that you are associated with NGOs and self-help groups where Aardra is putting their participants through their hand and mind coordination. What's the scene there? Can you walk us through that?
So we work with senior citizens mainly, and with people who also want to make an extra buck after their daily chores are finished. So why senior citizens? Because it's mentally very relaxing to work with the hands and to do the repetitive process that we do, be it the tube making or the weaving itself. So we chose senior citizen daycares where they come spend the day there, and while they are there, they get to work on this. They have a good day and they also get paid. So we work with one such organization called Sandhya Kirana on Langford Town. And we are talking to many other such organizations where we could start off small units where we can start working with their hands and they can be a part of this whole product creation process. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah. How long have you been associated with them?
A few months now. But apart from that, we have a lot of senior citizens around our homes who are a part of it and who work from their homes. And we also have people like cooks and people who work as drivers but who have electrical knowledge. So they just become my electricians when I make lampshades. And people who have other jobs, they become a part of my endeavor and turn into some other creative person that they want to be. The driver, for example, becomes the electrician. He gets paid separately for that. So likewise, and then you have people with a sewing machine and they have great stitching expertise and they become my lining experts. And of course, I have users who become my product designers also. And likewise, so this has been ever since I started.
Wow.
People have been joining in, and we have cooks who, a lot of cooks. I don't know what it is with cooks, but they take to this process so well, and they are so good at their jobs.
And what about workshops? Do you conduct workshops?
I do. mostly during the holidays for the grandchild and the grandparent. So they can create their own stuff for their homes, and later, if they wish to, they can become a part of Aardra.
You are doing human service by keeping them out of your hair during holidays.
Yeah. I'm helping parents, basically.
Human service. Bless you for that. I think Vidya, Nirja, Misha has a question for you. Misha says, thank you, Vidya and Nirja, for your time today. Vidya, love your insight about handling rejection and feedback. It's wonderful for you to use it for improving your products. For newbies who are just starting out, this kind of an approach could be difficult initially. What is the one advice you want to give to them?
Like I said, even if you're a newbie, if you love what you've created, you've traveled half the path. And the other half, you travel it when you start using it. Even the service, even if it's a service, I think somewhere you can be the user yourself and you can give yourself the feedback. So rejection doesn't come as rejection. It's not like overnight you create something and then you just throw it into the market. Nothing happens overnight, even if absolutely nothing happens overnight. It takes time. Build it every day. When you sleep over a creation, the next morning you always wake up with something new to add to it or to delete from it. As a painter, I know this. I know when my painting is done, I need to keep it in the middle, bang in the middle of the house every day, go to sleep, get back in the morning and stare at it for a bit. Things I didn't see last night, I can see it this morning. Every day it happens. I need to live with that painting for a few days and then decide, okay, it's fit to get onto some wall. Of course, even then I have people who say, I wish it had a brown background to match my walls or some such thing. But like the way Nirja rightly said, it depends who is giving you this feedback, So you filter your people, whoever is giving you the feedback. Take yourself so seriously that you put yourself on a pedestal so that you look at everyone else, categorize them. These are the people giving me the feedback. I will take A, B, and C more seriously than the rest. And then you're in a better space that way, mind space that way. Also, no one can be you. That's the unique thing about you. So what you create, someone else can, but what you can add to it, that other person who's created the same thing can't add to it. So even as a newbie, you're your own. So hold on to it and take it forward.
Thanks, Vidya. Deepika wants to know if you spell at a retail space. She is into handmade stuff as well.
Okay, yeah, I do. A couple of places in JP Nagar, there's a store called Tamala. So you can check out that store also. And in Alsur, there's a store called Emerald Store, and we're looking at a couple of stores in Indranagar and another one in Jainagar. So you can talk to a lot of people and put it out create a Facebook page. Is the simplest thing to do. Create the Facebook page and put it out into the market, put it out into the world. So many people will see, and create a catalog or something. When you talk to them, you have something to show them.
Yeah, and do know that Vidya also has her own Facebook page for Aardra products. So we'll have the links with you, or you can just go to Facebook and type Aardra, Aardra, Aardra products, and you should reach her Facebook page where she has all her creations lined up. And you can connect through Facebook Messenger as well. Misha says, Nirja, you shared a very interesting and refreshing take about how to handle guilt in a personal and professional space. But it's definitely easy for a mother. Do you recommend a mindset for homepreneurs?
Okay. So there you go, right? The first thing we say is it's easy for that other person to have done that because, and it's not so easy for me because, right? That's the first thing. We always, think that it's easier for somebody else. Forget the mother, the homepreneur, the working professional, the man and the woman and all of that, right? At the end of the day, it's the same tactic and practice. So for me, I've been working for 25 years and I've also, grown my girl along with that. So there has been a very thin kind of a line between the two. The home and the professional space. And I've kind of utilized strategies which have worked, at home, at office, and vice versa. So there's nothing to say that, if you are a homepreneur, if you're a mother, or if, you are in a corporate space, this strategy will work. You just make that particular strategy work, it's kind of it's the same. So when you say handle guilt, anywhere, as I said, if you are late to a particular interview, it's the same mindset. You were not at the child's annual day, it's the same mindset. It is about prioritizing what is it that is most important to you that day and in that phase of your life. And if at that phase of your life, if you are a homepreneur, which means that you're trying to establish yourselves, then what is most important for you is to kind of give preference to that market that you want to capture. The reason you are a homepreneur is because you really don't want to spend long hours in the commute and things like that. But let me caution you that if the reason you are a homepreneur is because you think that you can do the work at home as well as, your entrepreneurship, you are wrong there. Because, then I think both of them are not going to get done well. So you have to, draw a line. And I've done some webinars on this for women who want to restart. And they say that let me restart by working from home. And I say it's not easy. Don't think that working from is easy and hence, it kind of, a good way to restart, because it's that much more harder. You better know why you want to work from home. Is it because you want to avoid the commute? Is it because these 3 hours that you have it at home and you want to kind of dedicate it fully? Or is it because, no, wherever my mother-in-law calls, my child calls, my maid calls, I can go. And so, it's easier for me. So be very clear about why you wanted to be a homepreneur. But it's not going to work if you're going to not divide the space that you have for your work from the space for home. And the strategies are the same. The strategies are going to be the same, whichever phase of your life it is.
Can I add something here?
Yeah, go on, Vidya.
So I'm a mother too, and when I was painting those very large paintings for 18 hours sometimes, it helps in creating that disciplined time, that this time to this time I am going to paint. And I had a toddler and a slightly older child at that time. And when I get into that space, which is just another corner in the house, they know this is my time and they cannot barge into my time. And there is a certain invisible border there. They cannot cross that border also and touch the paints and meddle with it. It also helps in the way that children look at you. They don't take you as easily as they would, as they would take a housewife maybe, who's not doing something for herself. So this is not really about the money you're earning or what you're throwing into the market. You're doing something for yourself. So there is that much more respect in the eyes of the children. And you'll make them also better individuals by just setting aside that disciplined time for yourself. They know this is the way to be. There's no other way to be. They know that as they're growing up. So it's a great challenge if you are a mother. It's an effortless way of bringing your children up by just
Absolutely.
being yourself.
I will agree to that. And as closing, I think we have 2 minutes. I'll probably narrate another, story. So I was talking about my daughter finishing up her 10th, right? And I worked throughout. I think I quit when she was in 10th, but that was not the reason. I didn't quit because she was in 10th. There were other reasons for me to quit. But the whole year, people kind of gave me the guilt of, hey, you're continuing to work. Are you not taking time off because she's in 10th? Don't you want to be around her? Throughout the year, right? And then people said, at least during the month of the exams, and then at least during the exams, right? So they gave me all this guilt. So what I did, I just went and asked my daughter, do you want me to be around you, take off during exams? And I'd kind of left her to be on her own 3-4 years back. So I didn't know what I would do if I sat at home or what she would need. So I just asked her that question. And she said, I'll tell you, Ma. And March 23rd exams were starting. March 21st, I traveled to Mumbai for an event. 22nd, I was back in Bangalore and I was resting. I had not yet made up my mind whether I wanted to take off. And she had told me, it will be good, I think, Mom, if you're around for this 2 weeks of exams. Not knowing what, but she had asked me if I could be around her. 22nd, I was at home. And by evening, I saw some rashes on my body. I thought it was, maybe sun, Mumbai heat or something like that. But I just went to the doctor at 8 p.m. in the night. And she said, I have herpes. And I said, so what? She said, this is infectious. And I said, so my daughter is starting her boards tomorrow. She said, don't be around her. And thankfully for me, my mother lived in the same city. So 8:30, I came home, I packed my bags and I told Sneha, sorry, forget about me being around taking off. I don't think I'll be in the house for the 3 weeks of the exams because of this. And she said, okay, ma, you go take care of yourselves and we'll do what we have to do. So for the 3 weeks, I wasn't there. In fact, I could have come back, but I didn't want to because I didn't want to take any risk. She finished her exams, she topped her school, and she tells me, maybe because you were not there. I thought, good mom. The point is that the guilt is not going to help. Everybody gave you the guilt. You're not there for your child, you're not there for your child. Even if I'd wanted to be, nature had something else planned.
Yes, yes.
But if you have raised your child, because I raised my child in such a way that every point in time I made her responsible enough to deal with it, she was able to deal with it and dealt with it beautifully. So I think we're moving away from the context of, children here, but I think you use that in any context. It's going to be perfectly fine. Forget that guilt. Things will get taken care of.
Since we are talking about mothers and raising infants and toddlers, children fall when they learn to walk. But do you go and hold them every time they stumble? We don't. Can you afford to feel guilty? Oh, my child fell down with a thud. No, you can't. You need to let go of the guilt and observe the child at a safe distance so that the child gets the trick or understand the responsibility of getting up and walking. Now, it's just about inside your head. Imagine yourself. Imagine the two of you. I know two is not enough for a mother. We can't. Multiple copies can definitely help. But no, imagine yourself in copies inside your head. And here is one copy who is trying to gain ground as a homepreneur. And there is a much older copy of you who's always trying to tell you, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. No. So it's all about you. It's entirely about you. And once your efforts begin to take shape, you will begin to own the result as well. You will not have to share the result with anybody else. We have been sharing a lot of things with everybody all through our life. Your success is shared, your efforts are shared. Oh, somebody helped me with the project, so my project was very good. Somebody helped me with my XYZ, we had a get together at home. Somebody helped me with the cooking, so this thing came out very good. This is a time where you can actually own up your effort and own the result as well. It's a wonderful feeling. Trust me, you get a taste of it's very intoxicating. You get it, it's like dope. You get a taste of it once, you don't want to let go of it again. So get into your own head, get into your own thought process, start listening to yourself from a third person's perspective, from somebody, your personality, who you want to be. Give yourself that everyday suggestion as to this is the personality I want to become, because such a personality will help me in my work from home endeavors, and guilt is certainly not one of it. And putting my mind to work, putting my hands to tell what my mind is telling me to do is what is going to take me there, and that's how you take your homepreneur effort forward. So thank you all. Thank you, Vidya. Thank you, Nirja, for joining us today on the Homepreneur Huddle Chat. And it has been great, sharing your insights with all of us here. Everybody, do connect with them over LinkedIn and over Facebook. We'll be back here sometime next month. Thank you all.
Thank you, Nirja. Thank you, Deepa. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.